Call our meeting to order with the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Calling our meeting to order, we're going to abide by the new CDC guidelines for been vaccinated. You do not have to wear a mask indoors. Before you, you have approval of the minutes from our April 8th meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, clarifications, or can the minutes be accepted as presented?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second. Motion's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion passes. Treasurer's report. Before you see our treasurer's report, total cash available in general funds is $517,576.93. Total cash available in reserve account, $76,595.16. Total cash available in fire tax fund account, $41,741.46. Total cash available in sewer fund account, $311,744.78. And total cash available in liquid fuels account, $303,070. Is there any questions, or can the consolidated treasurer's report be accepted as presented?
I move we accept it as presented.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Before you see consolidated payment of bills reported as of May 13th, from general fund, the total of invoices is $86,547.96. Sewer fund, $1,977.45. Liquid fuels fund, $3,229.37. Fire tax, $4,109.78. Is there any questions about the invoices presented and payment for those invoices? If not, is there a motion to accept the invoices as presented? Question.
County emergency service.
911.
911.
Fire. That's just fire.
Is that the year?
Annual.
That's the annual.
That's the annual.
Yeah, the police and EMS part is in there too. That's 17.
Okay.
We'll up to like 21.
Yeah, I've actually made comments back to the commissioners a couple times about how's this, proportioned out. Should it be like more calls in certain areas, should pay more, and they don't feel that way. So it sort of gets, or by population or by square miles, they have some formula which they're happy with, but probably smaller municipalities are not happy with that, so. So I lost count. Was there a motion or a second to approve the payment of bills?
Second.
Motion been moved, second to payment of bills. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion passes. Public hearings, petitions, hearing none, no questions have been submitted for our Zoom meeting. We'll go to the report from the borough engineer.
First item we have on the report is Reading real estate property. Last month you gave final plan approval with the following conditions and improvement agreements for the proposed sidewalk improvements shall be prepared for borough council and borough solicitor approval. I will let
right, and that has been done, and I believe it has been signed by Mr. Lutz on behalf of Reading Real Estate. Is that what is that? I gave it to you. Yeah. It's been signed by Reading Real Estate, and they are providing a cash escrow for the deferred improvement of the completion of the sidewalk, and that is in the amount of approximately $15,000.
15,001. The check's over.
Okay, yeah.
It's at the end of the agreement.
Yeah. I prepared it, I should say. It's approximately $15,000. Cash escrow has been placed with the borough I would like a motion authorizing the chair and manager to sign on behalf of Borough.
Make a motion, the president and the borough manager sign
Accept the agreement.
the agreement.
Right,
On
and
behalf
the
of
amount of
Borough.
security is $15,172.50.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been moved and seconded to have the borough authorities to sign the agreement for the property. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
The legal description was provided for the parcel as a single lot, but the deed for that property should be recorded as part of the land development plan.
It's in the process. That I did check on.
That's all I have on real estate, unless someone has any questions.
Nope.
Okay, the other item is 3001 Perkiomen Avenue. We were told that plans would be received shortly. Today we have not seen anything. We will be requiring them to go through that development.
There's one other item that I saw in your reports, Antietam Valley Shopping Center. I had passed along to their attorney the exact standards for stormwater management going forward. Have not gotten a response. Allison, you received a copy of that
Email, yeah.
email? Okay.
We're waiting for, we basically set up what it is that we want in a report and made it very simple when we're waiting for them to return it to us on their letterhead, acknowledging that they have to inspect their storm drains monthly with a report that follows up with any issues, and to have a professional inspect their system once a year and submit that report to Borough. We already have allowed them to borrow our stencil to stencil their storm drains. It couldn't be simpler, so.
It was much easier to go ahead and present that all to them, for them to flounder, trying to figure exactly what we wanted or what was going to be acceptable.
Well, they were going to appeal it.
But now they're not.
They have not, I've not
Yeah.
received an appeal.
They wouldn't really have much to appeal. I don't think they would have worth
So we had a
standing.
check sent to us
Mhm.
that we just held on to and in return.
Primarily the issue is, they have a big storm drain there that sort of just empties straight in, into the system, which goes straight in the creek. And it did it break or something?
It failed.
Failed in, caved in on itself or something. And it didn't seem like it was getting repaired.
We required them to upsize to handle all the water flowing to it and to put a sump in so that the debris could be cleaned out before it got into the storm drain lines.
Next, anything else?
That's it in my report, unless someone has any questions.
Hey, I wanted to go back to the 3001 Perkiomen Avenue. Is it anticipation that the plans are going to include the property and the adjacent property that they bought?
No,
I don't
it's,
know that.
no, they didn't.
Oh, they didn't buy it?
They didn't buy it, somebody else did.
Okay.
They got a call today, they plan to flip the property, so
Plan to do what?
flip
Oh,
the
okay.
property.
Any questions on the report? We'll move on. First solicitor.
Great, the one item was addressed, which is the Reading Real Estate Improvements Agreement. Next month, we will have the consideration of the volunteer service tax credit ordinance. We discovered it required 30 days advertising in advance of the hearing, so it will be held at the June meeting. And that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
All right,
Which
right.
works anyway, because the distribution of funds
It was
occurs,
twice a year. Right.
well, the filing deadline is 30 days after the end of the Berks EIT filing period. So instead of doing multiple, once we hit that date, then nobody else can submit. And anything that's submitted is already calculated already. So on that 30-day mark would be a week after it's approved.
All right.
So
Is that it, Joan?
That's it, yes.
Okay. Anything on Borough zoning officer code enforcement.
There are zoning permit applications flying in the bill.
All right.
Code enforcement, Derek has been handling the preliminary. Everyone that we have tagged for grass so far has cut their grass. The one we just automatically sent a certified letter to, and that got cut within a week. So that process seems to be.
Typically, are you issuing like a courtesy door tag first, and that seems to get the job done?
We even did the courtesy certified mail. We just wanted to make sure they got it.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else?
And then
Oh, yeah. For
90.
490 Parkview Road. We need to proceed. It is the property that's next to the boarded up property. They were sent a letter last year. They never responded. The water has been shut off. Nobody's been living in it, but it has now become broken into twice and is in general state of disrepair. So we need to move ahead and condemn it because of the water being turned off, boarded up, and proceed from there. There are also letters out for collection, which will be through the process by next month, and we can put liens on the properties that have, that property in particular owes more than 2,000 in sewer.
So if we would board the first floor windows and the door frame, is that all accessible, you know?
We may need to board in the back because it's cut into a hillside, so we have to go around back and see how,
Like if you could jump off the hillside onto a
well.
porch or something, you get onto the second floor window?
Well, the second floor windows would be right at the top of the hillside.
On the top of the hill.
Because it is a steep property.
And it's actually cut into the hill, so you could step from.
You have to actually go up the hillside and you get up to a different level in the back and you're probably,
I'm not sure what the ground level is considered on that building. I'm not sure if you walk into the basement or if the ground level is the next level up, which would be the first floor. I'm not sure.
It's-
Is that something you and Jen could do, or is it easier just for us to hire someone to go board it out?
You can board it, but that's.
Yeah, but I don't want you guys, you know, trumps on a porch where your leg goes through, or, fall
This
off a ladder or
building-
something.
This building's not as worse as the one next door.
okay.
and the one next door, which is condemned and has been reposted condemned, was sold. And 3 days later was put back for sale.
Buyer's remorse. Does the council in general agreement, that's what we probably need to move on that property to make it safe, you know?
Yeah,
for
possibly it's
vandalism?
been a problem, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
so,
we do have a police report of it being broken into.
And,
Yeah.
and that the inside is not habitable.
Judge, we need to do anything like just have some sort of motion?
The motion to proceed.
Yeah, so we want a motion to proceed on our efforts for the house that is abandoned to make it safe to the borough, to prevent vandalism and be an attraction as a vandalism item, and move forth on
Right,
everything else
it would be to placard as unfit for human habitation and secure the property.
to secure property.
And leave the costs.
So moved.
Second,
Motion been moved and seconded to proceed on the condemned property. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Is that it?
With that property, did we ask police to check on it occasionally?
We do.
They already checked on
Oh, yeah.
It's convenient because 494 is being monitored, so it's right next to it.
It's being monitored. And one is because of the nature of for sale and that somebody went into pictures to put online to sell the property, that the police know, and if they see anybody inside, they will arrest them for trespassing. And boarding it up is actually safe for the police because they went in after a door was smashed open and checked the place out. So rather than board it up and be done.
Rather than
Mayor, have anything to report?
I do. The April 2021 Central Berks Police Report discloses continued average numbers for service calls and for the types of service. Next Tuesday, May the 18th, is municipal primary election day. The registered voters in St. Lawrence Borough shall select candidates for local, county, and state offices, plus 3 proposed Pennsylvania state constitutional amendments. This important election places your candidates, the people that you want to have direct our local municipality, school board, judges, and county offices onto the general election ballots in November. I urge you to take your civic duty serious and vote on Tuesday, May the 18th, here at Borough Hall between 7:30 a.m. and 8 p.m. Stay safe and be well.
Thank you, Mayor.
The only change to that, I would say, is there's 4 questions. There are 2 changing the, putting the legislature more in control of emergencies.
Correct. And
There's one for the fire, and there's also one more of a non-discrimination race, and I can't remember.
It's race and ethnicity.
Race and ethnicity. There's
2 proposed amendments to the Constitution relating to emergency powers of the governor under the Emergency Services Code. And one would limit the time of an emergency, change it from 90 days, which it currently is, to 21 days, and not allow renewal without the agreement of the state House and Senate. And it would also allow the state House and Senate by simple majority concurrent resolution to terminate a state of emergency. It would reverse the Scarnati versus Wolf case from last June, which allowed a governor's veto of a concurrent resolution. The third question would also be an amendment to the Constitution prohibiting discrimination on the basis of race and ethnicity. And the 4th directly affects municipalities that have paid fire and EMS and not volunteer, by allowing borrowing from the state fund by municipalities that have paid fire service and EMS. Right now, borrowing from this particular fund is limited to all volunteer.
it would also allow for borrowing by combination departments.
Yes.
And it's the 2%.
I will stand corrected and listen.
Updated.
Listen now.
Yeah, no, I want to give some clarification. I've done some programs on for League of Women Voters, and I wanted to give some clarification to our audience out there about what is on the ballot.
So on committee reports, thank you, Mayor. We budget and finance, is there anything else besides?
We need to authorize the opening of the escrow account, which is going to be called the 3200 Only Turnpike Road escrow account.
Resolution 849, 2021.
Which authorizes the already people who bank sign, which is the president, the vice president, the secretary. And the
So you need a motion to open up another account for an escrow.
non-interest bearing.
Non-interest bearing account for escrow for plan review, et cetera, for.
No.
Oh, no.
For 15,000.
Oh, for the improvement, for the sidewalk.
Right.
Got
That's just improvements.
Yeah.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 849/2021, establishing the non-interest bearing escrow account for 3200 Old Turnpike Road for the improvements.
Escrow.
Escrow.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been moved and seconded to establish the account. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Anything new on streets and lights?
We just ordered brand new streetlights from Macy Way. We just made sure what fits in there. We had a couple fail. We have 3 out currently, but they're all gonna be replaced LED.
The one at Macy Way, is that gonna be solar or just regular?
It's all.
Yeah.
It's just an LED.
There's a mixture of CFL with drivers in conjunction with LED right now, but some have failed. And like 3 of them are LED, other ones have failed, so we're just gonna replace all of them at one time, all LED.
Okay, I have it. I don't know if this is the appropriate place for, on streets, but I don't know if you've noticed a gradual accumulation of vehicles along the west side of the driveway going down to Community Church, which is in the right-of-way, street right-of-way, or Chestnut. And one of the residents there, they were repairing, they have a truck, they have the bumpers off, they, you know, it started out with 1 car. The other day, I think I counted 6 cars. And it's, you know,
Can you see a inspection sticker on them?
oh, you just drive down the church parking lot. I mean, yeah, they're right by the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah, but so that they're all properly.
I haven't
done that.
notice of it, but they're parking, the basic question is they're parking in a street right of way, paper street right of way. It's not improved. It's still maintained as a right of way. Can that be considered open for public parking?
Great question. I had no idea.
A paper street right of way can be considered open for public parking. It's open for passage for the owners along there. However, it does not become part of the private property where
So-
parking, you know, and not only that, I mean, even if it were part of the private property, to have disassembled abandoned vehicles would violate property maintenance and nuisance ordinances. And there are other ordinances that would be applicable as well, regardless of the character, public or private.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly whose cars they are. I just have noticed.
When I went by the other day, there were like 4 cars there, but there were also people among all 4 cars, some sitting in the back of the truck,
Yeah.
kids running around, so I noticed, but
They're there all the time. They're using the church driveway coming down, parking their cars. The one truck had the bumpers off, had, you know, the hood up. They were,
Backyard mechanic stuff.
yeah, right. And it's
I was
right away, and it's a, you know, thinking of it for the church, it's a bit of an eyesore right along their driveway leading down into the church parking lot. That every day the preschool families and everything are driving by it.
I would think on some sort of level, we would not want to have parking on any paper street.
No, you wouldn't, because you can't.
Because then we have no way of knowing if we have the right of way, you know, we maintain the paper street for essentially a right of way.
that will never go away,
Right,
because we have a storm drain that runs down.
right. So regardless of why we have a paper street, you know, there shouldn't be, there should not be parking on a paper street. We're saying that.
Now, some of my concern is consistency, in that we've also had the people on Scioto and Jackson involved in the little stub there, parking their recreational, you know, their campers, their trucks, using that area,
That
grass
was
area.
a bit more formalized,
Right.
but then when we took it over.
Right, but somebody could say, hey, you allow it there, and what about here? Which I understand why, you know, the guy cuts the grass and everything else, it's not a
anymore,
problem.
doesn't.
Huh?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, we take care of that. We took over that stuff with Jacksonville Avenue.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah, we did it by ordinance.
It's ordained.
Oh,
It's
okay.
ours.
That little stub, so you go up there and mow
To
it
the
off-site?
sewer. Yeah, to the sewer line. Wow.
So how do you do it where the vehicles are parked and everything? You don't?
Are they still parked there?
Here and there.
Oh, yeah, there's a camper there,
Is
there were
it
at least
a
one
camper
pickup.
parked with,
Here and there. Well, there's a truck there sometimes.
yeah, but not a
There's always a
camper by
camper.
itself?
Yes,
Well, I can't guarantee that.
Can we make up a courtesy note that will attach to the door handles of the vehicles?
Say the police are supposed to ticket that, so.
Okay, well, I'd rather go first with the courtesy notes, or you'd rather go with the ticket?
Did we know who it
Say
is?
that camper's already been ticketed, so.
Okay, I'm talking about
there
the church.
used to be two,
Okay,
Yeah.
So if there's an area that's already been targeted and has enforcement, let's
We
continue
have a
that.
right of way down through there, we can go down and take pictures through our right of way.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just making
Sure,
sure.
I would think you could.
Do the doorknob handle things, are they also applicable to like, on the park here? Or do you have like a line?
We print them,
That's what I meant.
we have blanks.
Okay.
We make.
I'm gonna suggest that we go ahead and make that the first wave, just a courtesy notice.
I say for
Hey,
that,
this is a street on, well, I don't know how we want to say this, make it sound official.
let's say for that house, we do a door tag, and a door tag, one of the parameters is junk vehicles or.
Well, don't use the word junk or anything, just say, listen, this is a right of way, a street that the borough owns, there's no parking on an unapproved street. That's all we have to state.
Why don't we just let the police,
We can do that. I'm just trying to give them,
let them walk and take notice and.
we want,
Police could give a warning.
yeah, let's do that. then.
Recommend that police give a warning.
Please coordinate with the chief on those two areas. And if it's been a nuisance area before, tell them to keep on ticking it off.
Typically, on the Jacksonville Avenue stuff, if we see something, we send it to them and they'll take it.
All right.
I just
A
don't wanna
year
see-
ago, it was just one car
Yeah.
that was parked there and there was
It's-
now it's.
If we would ever need to go down there for whatever reason, it makes no sense to have vehicles parked on
I just don't
it.
wanna see him get an altercation over putting a note on somebody's car.
Well, then we'll let the police do it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So, all right,
She starts cycle and just.
yeah. Okay, planning commission, anything new?
Didn't meet this past month. Are we going
We
to,
will.
there was,
I sent you an email, we definitely have to meet this month,
right, that's what I thought.
we have the running real estate plans. to
All right.
sign.
And potentially a preview, if received, of what's being proposed for up at 3001 Perky Elliott. It won't be a formal presentation because obviously I won't have time to review any of it. But at least they could take a look and see and get an idea of
Lay of the land, so to speak.
what they're proposing.
All right. Under sanitary sewer, you see in the back there a quote from Mr. Rehab based on the CoStar rates. So we probably need an authorization for that.
I have one
Go ahead.
quick, Ty brought up, did you have anything about manhole inspections? Just the lines, not the manhole.
Say it's just a line.
So we want to clarify that wherever the lines are, if there's a manhole in the length of the line, that they get inspected too.
You could have I through a manhole.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
manholes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they spew.
Well, let's say, the ones we pulled so far, we haven't found that.
We,
As far as all of them.
Yeah, but we did,
we lined a lot of them,
Yeah.
but they're still,
so we just want a clarification, any line that they're televising, the manholes through the televised area also have to be inspected for iron. That's what we want clarified on this. So,
If you need a form for them to fill out, let me know and I'll email it to you. There's a form for manhole inspections.
and the other thing I was gonna suggest, instead of getting all the stuff on DVDs, tell them that it has to be an MP4.
He did say we can get it via hard disk.
Yeah, as long as it's a hard disk, as long as it's an MP4 though. So we don't have to convert them. So we have boxes of VHS tapes,
Yeah.
sewer lines that we're now converting to MP4s and being able to store on our file. So we don't have to worry about the tapes.
Oh, yeah, as technology changes.
Right, so it makes more sense for us to ask for it in that way, so we don't have that intermediary step, So is there a motion? We'll go ahead and authorize the roadmaster to get Mr. Rehab on board for the quotation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Is that gonna change?
What?
Is that gonna
It's-
include the manuals?
Oh, yeah,
You know, that amount will include it.
I'm suggesting it is.
It may be a separate price, but it's all co-stars, so it would fall within.
If for somehow it's not in this quote, he's gonna have to give us change order to this, but we'll discuss next meeting. How's that sound?
Okay, I'm assuming they're not gonna move that fast to start before next meeting.
Right. Sounds that, is that okay? motioning
I
something?
made the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Warren second.
Motion been moved and seconded to authorize a quotation for Mr. Rehab for the sewer, investigation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Anything new on trash and recycling as of
Same old.
same old complaints? You're not getting any better or anything like that? Less complaints?
Personal opinion?
Statistical
There's,
opinions.
it seems to be the same properties that keep missing, I don't know why.
No,
He's looking into it. It's like complaining again.
yeah.
It's not a lot.
It's not a lot, it's just a few, but it's the same one.
Same ones.
Yeah.
Recreation playground program and new,
Yeah.
lay it on us.
Since it was announced that the restrictions were being lifted on Memorial Day, with the exception of masks, and I think those are gonna be going away sometime soon also. That leaves us with the ability to hold a playground program this summer.
What's the status of potential playground leaders?
We would have to see if we can get some.
Okay,
We've been discussing it. And we are looking at options of doing an evening only program. Most places are doing some kind of modification to their summer program. Exeter is going with the Teachers in the Park program, which will probably include some St. Lawrence kids because the school district picks the children. They go, and I think by school bus to the park. Exeter handles the recreation portion of it. Then they are taken by bus at lunchtime back to the school for lunch and an afternoon of educational instruction. And that, at least from what we've heard from Exeter, is the extent of their park program for the summer.
I'm not connecting the dots, so why do
They're
you
only gonna
think?
be 9 to 12 in the morning. They're only running a half day in conjunction with the school district.
Also,
So, and it's only the kids the school district picks.
so why do you, so you just said at the beginning, you think we should just have a modified program for evening only. So I don't understand, help me connect the dots. Whatever Exeter's doing, why you don't think we should have a morning program also?
We have no clue, one, how many kids we're gonna end up with, because the majority of Exeter kids, if they're not in the school district program, are not going to have a playground program in Exeter to go to. Which means we'll end up picking up a whole bunch of kids, more than likely,
Potentially.
in the mornings.
There's no data to support that. The reason I keep
Okay.
pushing back is I don't want to try to hire someone for just 4 hours or 3 hours a night or something like that. I almost want to try to get someone that you can give almost 7 hours of pay or even more if we use them for other things at the borough.
We only have to operate 6 hours of playground.
Okay, so I want to, I don't think you're going to get anybody just for 3 hours. So that's why I think you should try to at least have 6 and have a morning program also. And if for some reason we get overrun, then we can pull the plug, But very few people don't do things for the fear of something may happen. When there's no data already, it's going to say it's going to be overrun. It's conjecture.
It's registered kids from previously at the playground.
But we've had such a poor showing the last couple, years, especially in the daytime, wasn't it? Less kids. I mean, it sort of, it does this, doesn't it?
Well, we didn't have one last year. The year before when we had one, our numbers were, there was
Meaning,
a lot of younger kids.
yeah, like a wave, the new younger wave was coming in, but like 20, or what are we talking about?
I think the morning, I think our average was 19 or 20 in the morning.
Yeah.
Morning, yeah.
Other comments?
I agree with what you're saying.
Well,
I think you
I'm
have to
ready,
clarify what you're doing though. I don't know that arts and crafts.
No, I think this is more.
Many people in one area. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about, arts and crafts. I'm just concerned that, that we try to establish something that we had before as close as possible. And if it overwhelms us, I'm first to say, we'll pull the plug. We'll just say, we can't handle this many kids,
You just don't do those special event nights where you're gathering them all into the same area.
I think it'd be very basic. Listen, we're gonna have a leader there. They're gonna have organized games and organized sports as needed, something like that.
And so any applicants or nothing yet?
We have like 2 possible.
Is there a way of doing preferential for borough?
Well, you make everybody register. So right there, you can see whether they're actually a,
Well, there's where we're gonna have to really harp down. There's people that don't wanna fill out that form. If they
Then-
don't wanna fill out that form, then their kids can't attend for playground.
right,
We're gonna have to get really, if we have to get nasty, I guess we're gonna have to get, that form must be filled out.
I think that's.
So we know how many we could potentially have.
Wouldn't you have to have something like that for insurance reasons?
We're supposed to, but there are kids that slip through that.
Or an at-will playground.
They slip
and
through
it's a
they slip
public
through the
park.
cracks where you think
Yeah.
they have a form and until you go to call their parents
And
and they don't have.
we do not have, nor do we want to have kids sign in when they get there and sign out, because we don't control them. A lot of kids walk home. It's not like when they would go to down at Community Park, each kid had to sign in and the leaders ringed and kept them contained in an area. We don't do that. We don't have the capability of doing that to contain them. That playground is too long and too narrow to keep kids from coming and going. If they have to go to the bathroom and don't want to use ours, they go home across the street or a block away.
And concessions will be very limited.
Yeah,
Basically, drinks and prepackaged.
but all this is a planning stage unless you have something to attract someone to hire. That's my.
Right, and I agree, I think we should
And,
do like we normally do, the morning 9 to noon and the evening 6 to 9.
in the worst case scenarios, if we have to, if we get overrun and we have to bail out or something and we offer alternate work at the Borough Hall and they don't like it, then we're not out of anything anyway, is the way I look at it. Welcome to the business world.
Yeah, I know.
So can you move forward? You want to try to reach out to the two and see if they're still interested?
I'll reach out to them tomorrow.
We talked in general terms before that we'd make them, whoever we hire would have to have a COVID shot also. Should we make that a stipulation?
Well,
We can.
You can, but there are certain exceptions to that. There's
Right.
RDA,
Right, I know, there's-
guidelines, so-
Right. But I think in general terms, we would prefer,
If they're able to be
They
vaccinated.
would be
They
fully
need-
vaccinated before. They'd have to get in now and they still would be halfway through the program before.
Right, because 3 to 4 weeks, depending which one, and then a second one, 2 weeks after.
that's all right. It's still into the intents there, is the way I look at it, so.
And in order to run the program, we require 2 leaders?
I don't know, that's a great question.
I
We
don't know
always,
that you should do it with any less than that.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's the point I'm making. What if you only can find one person?
you only find one person.
One
What do we do?
Yeah,
Then
That was my
at that point, if you can only find one, I don't think we can proceed.
Yeah, I think
Because
there's too much.
that would
risk
be
with-
Right.
way,
You gotta have 2
your
people.
span of
Yeah.
control is too great there.
And you can't, an adult with a kid, one-on-one.
Well, every other organization has a child protection policy, you know, for the playground program.
what do you mean a child protection policy?
There are background checks. that are-
Yeah, they have,
Oh, yeah.
they have to get
But
their.
the child protection policy, it stipulates how many adults are present, what adults can do to children.
No, we haven't really got that sophisticated.
Where it's an at-will. It's,
It's an organized program. Not every kid that comes would each actually have to participate if they didn't want to. If they wanted to shoot basketball all day long, they could just do that.
Swing in the swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think,
Leaders will.
What do you say?
There are leaders already have to be 18.
Yeah.
And they go through background checks.
Right, but they're recorded as the child
Yeah.
abuse clearances, but I am familiar with the kind of policies, for example, that an adult cannot be alone with a child. The rate maintaining ratios similar to what daycare, state daycare ratios have.
Child, adult can't go into a restroom alone with a child, that sort of thing, right?
So, what would be potential start date, like the 15th of June or something?
To be determined.
It's over on that graph.
I'd say it's to be determined.
Well, I mean, you have to tell if you're gonna hire somebody, you have to tell them.
The last day of school is like the 5th.
We wouldn't go.
I think we would start probably the 14th, maybe.
You wanna hire them the week ahead?
The 14th.
14th.
Yeah,
Start date would be the 7th then, and the program would start on the 14th.
Right,
Okay, so everybody good with that? Go for it, try to find two.
all right.
That was the 14th.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
Emergency management, anything new?
Nothing new.
Zoning hearing board? Nothing? Municipal lands, anything new?
Just a couple of things. First of all, this Saturday, 9 o'clock, is the tour of the Borough lands. If anybody would care to join me, it will be, weather's supposed to be pretty nice.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay. The other,
Only with us. I mean, it's-
well, it's gonna be on time.
Bring your own water bottle.
Yeah, bring your own water bottle. I don't have to buy water.
Courtesy.
I also noticed that they are removing the power lines that where the area that they have cleared, the towers are empty. No lines, no insulators, nothing. And I don't know, do you know whether they are planning on removing the
The towers themselves?
I would think they would be without power lines on it, just asking for somebody to try to climb it for the fun of it, without the problem of electrical. Which is probably a med ed problem for liability.
Oh, yeah.
Will you, do we have someone at Med Ed, like, we can call? I thought we had someone in the
Yeah.
borough that works at Med Ed or something.
I'll say we have a municipal service rep.
Yeah, why don't you give them a call and just ask them what's the status, if the towers are coming down too, since we noticed the wires.
The lines are gone.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we have no control over them, making sure the land is properly rehabbed for, water and stuff. I don't know.
Oh, you mean because they've been running up
All
and
of
down
the
the right of way?
down,
Yeah.
heavy stuff, and
I mean, when they have the power lines, they keep the rights of way clear for that purpose.
yeah. But I mean, just for
Yeah, just ask them if they have a rehab plan for all the traffic that was underneath the tower right away.
most of it's rock, so
Yeah.
it's not a real problem. But it was just a generic question.
I see them when they're installing new towers that they put down the wooden mats
Right.
over everywhere.
Right.
They don't even try to.
There's none of that.
Yeah,
There's none
none of that.
I've seen-
Yeah,
seen here.
this is the cheap stuff. When they take stuff out, man.
Right. Now, what's left on our property is from a tower down behind Beal's property toward the mountain there, and it goes all the way up to Church Lane to the very, very top. It's a really long run with large. They haven't cleared any of that, and I believe the reason for that is they're going to lower the cable down.
Pull it down.
And
Pull it
just,
off.
it's between two.
Yeah.
Just two, but it's a long run and it's. But anyway, I don't know when they're gonna do that or if they're gonna do that, but I assume they would. So that's all I have to say about municipal lands. Mark Crop. Ran into him the other day. We had talked about cutting the Atlantis trees. He said he would be more than happy to go out there and assist me. I'd show him what to cut. He would come out there and cut that if we don't have a problem with a resident going out and helping me.
No.
I didn't think so.
You gotta take some survey tape with you on your walk, and that way you can mark them as you go,
Oh, I know. I've got the area marked. There's about a dozen of them. I was there just about this week. And there's a stand of about a dozen of them. The biggest one is, maybe 10, 12 inches in diameter. The other ones are mostly 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches.
Do you
So that's
need,
one of those things.
do you need Roundup or anything? Do you gonna take a drill and drill down and pour the Roundup in it or something?
I've used brush kill, which is better for that.
All right.
But I'm tempted not to.
Oh,
I did an area where I girdled trees on our property, the section not far above Adams Street. There were probably 6 or 8 trees. I girdled them back in the fall. Sprouts came up, deteriorated all the sprouts. There's nothing.
really? I'm surprised. Because I couldn't get rid of mine until
Well,
you just
yeah.
cut them off, the sprouts come straight up.
Yeah, they were there in the fall,
Yeah.
but when I kept, it was my experiment.
Wait till my pears come in, the deer will give up on them.
Yeah, so it was, they're all,
All right.
and they don't get enough sun now. The other trees is, so I'm tempted to do that if I see there's,
Just curious, what the procedure was gonna be. So,
yeah. Rather than putting chemicals down,
yeah.
I'd assume rather not do that if I can get away with it.
Maybe even salt water, maybe enough salt water would kill it too. So,
Okay.
anything you want insurance? Newspaper, newsletter? Oops, sorry.
Well, no, next couple of weeks, I guess. we'll have-
Yeah, gotta get one out if we have a program or not. Library liaison.
3 items.
Ooh.
So item number 1, there, the library is going to be opening Story Walk, which is a program of the registered trademark around the country. They've actually paved an area, the wooded area around the library, and then they will have posts with parts of the story that families can, kind of walk, get fresh air, get exercise, and read at the same time. That was made possible by a $30,000 grant from Mascaro. That was the money they didn't spend on alcohol for you when you guys went down to their.
I think there's probably more enjoyment from the party than perhaps Story Walk. We'll say judgment from that.
Depends on grade. So that's going to
And
be,
for the record, I didn't imbibe by any alcohol.
all right, that's going to be.
We took care of it.
Others did.
That's going to be dedicated on May 28th. A second thing, there's an online author event that's going to take place on Thursday, July 15th. Daniel Silva, who writes like thrillers, espionage novels. It's going to be a Zoom event. His wife, Jamie Gangle, is going to moderate that. So it'll be like a Zoom webinar kind of thing for all comers. Mallory is going to write a letter for an article for the Exeter newsletter. I asked that she also send the article here to you folks so you can put it in our newsletter. And then the third thing, the library is anticipating opening midway in June. They experimented starting last week with having folks use Sign Up Genius to sign up for time so they can control the number of people in the building. I went there on Monday, and like every third computer is available for folks browsing for a limited number of people. Maybe by July, there'll be a more general opening, return to normalcy, depending how.
Are the time slots like timed like an hour? or something like that?
For the experiment, it was a half an hour, so it was like 4:15 to 4:45. So we've updated the library service policy to, just to require that patrons conform to whatever the expectations are when there's a public health emergency.
Lots of action.
Yeah.
Borough manager report, anything to report?
No, anything that hasn't been covered.
Okay, any unfinished business from council members? New business? General comments? Anything from incoming and outgoing communications? Nope. There a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Motion to move and second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thanks for your time.